Rest is the third foundation. And honestly, this tends to be the hardest conversation. Not because people don't know they're tired. Most lead artists know exactly how depleted they can feel. The challenge is the relationship with the belief, often unconscious, that rest needs to be earned somehow, that slowing down is falling behind, or that the answer to depletion is more effort. I know that place very intimately. My own journey back from disconnection and burnout wasn't a week, it was over a year. Multiple trips to emergency, a body and mind that had finally refused to keep moving in the direction I was driving them. And what I found on the other side wasn't only psychological. It was emotional, mental, energetic. Every layer had to be examined. Nothing got to stay. RESTLAB was born from that. So we start by looking honestly at your stress load, not through clinical diagnosis, but through a self-assessment process. Specific tools to identify where the real pressure is coming from and to establish priority areas: sleep, relationships, work rhythms, physical environment, emotional accumulation, financial pressure. The body holds all of it. And until we know where the real load is sitting, we can't address it with any genuine precision. Sleep is the bedrock. And what I observe frequently across the people I work with is that sleeping and genuinely recovering are not the same thing. There is a meaningful difference between the two, and it is worth sitting with that. We look at sleep architecture, not simply how many hours, but the quality, the environment, and the habits that are either supporting or quietly sabotaging restoration from the inside out. But RESTLAB goes well beyond sleep. There's a concept I work with that most people haven't encountered: the idea of working in. While the world largely understands working out, output-based activity that spends your energy, working in is movement and practice that actively cultivates energy. Breath work, stillness, gentle rhythmic movement, sequences that feed the nervous system rather than withdraw from it. And for a high output creative, this is often the missing piece entirely. The input that restores the capacity to keep giving out. We also build what I call Zen Resets throughout the day. Short, intentional pauses that interrupt the accumulation of tension before it hardens into something more difficult to shift. Small anchors, genuine moments of stillness that don't cost you time so much as they restore it. And we work with rhythm, the body, which operates in cycles, daily ones, seasonal ones, creative. Consider how rarely we are taught to honor those rhythms rather than override them. And in my experience, learning to work with the body's natural intelligence rather than against it is one of the most quietly profound shifts any person can make, and one of the most lasting. In the ground phase, we map out the honest picture of where your stress and restoration actually sit. In integrate, the practices become anchors in your daily life, and in play, rest stops being something you collapse into and rather becomes something you move through with intelligence and ease. Because the lead artists who sustain, who keep producing meaningful work decade after decade without hollowing out, they've understood this. Rest is not the absence of work, it is the work. It's where everything you've been building actually lands. And you don't have to hit the wall to learn that. You can start right now.